have you ever wondered why some people take charge while others sit back? Why some overanalyze everything while others just go with the flow? It's not random, it's personality, and once you understand it, you'll see the world completely differently. Today, we're breaking down the 4 personality types from an amazing book I found recently, Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erikson, what drives them, how they think, and most importantly, how to deal with them without losing your mind. Imagine you're planning a trip with your friends. One friend pulls out a full schedule, planning every single minute. Another refuses to plan anything. Someone else jumps in like a boss, handing out tasks to everyone. And then there's that one friend, not listening, not planning, just vibing, but somehow the most excited of all. Let's break them down. The 4 personality types. First up, we have the Reds. These are the straight to the point, no nonsense, get it done people. They don't waste time, they don't overthink, and they definitely don't sit around discussing how they feel about something. If something needs to happen, they make it happen, fast. They naturally take charge, which can be awesome, but they also have zero patience for indecisiveness. They're the ones who don't overthink. They don't waste time discussing 10 different options. They decide, they act, and they expect you to keep up. At work, you'll see them pushing for action while everyone else is lost in endless discussions. They don't care about maybes. They want results. And in any competition, whether it's a business deal, an argument, or a game of Monopoly, they refuse to lose. On a road trip, they're driving. No unnecessary stops, no random detours. The goal is to get there fast. Then we have the Blues, the planners, the perfectionists, the ones who need all the details before making a decision. They don't guess, they research, they cross-check reviews before booking a hotel. They compare every possible option before making a purchase. If you casually say, "Let's meet later," they'll immediately ask, "What time? Where? How long? What's the plan?" If you are planning a trip with a Blue, they already made a spreadsheet, hotel options, flight schedules, backup plans. It's all in there, which is great because they make sure nothing is overlooked, but it also means they get stuck in overanalyzing. While everyone else has already made a decision and moved on, they're still researching just in case. At work, they're the ones questioning everything. If someone presents a new idea, they'll say, "Wait, have we considered every possible risk?" They love structure, order, and well-thought-out plans. If you ask them to wing it, they might actually short-circuit. Now, let's talk about the Greens, the chill, easygoing, let's all just get along types. These are the peacemakers. The glue that holds a group together because they hate conflict. They'll do anything to avoid drama, even if it means saying "I don't mind" when they do mind, just to keep the peace. They're incredibly patient, which is great, until people start walking all over them. They'd rather put up with a bad situation than risk confrontation. At work, they're the ones who never complain, even when they probably should. They're steady, reliable, and keep things running smoothly. And finally, we have the Yellows, the fun, energetic, let's make life exciting personalities. You know that one friend who makes friends with random strangers in 5 minutes? That's a Yellow. They live for fun, adventure, and excitement. They hate being alone. They love people, and they will do whatever it takes to make sure life is never boring. If they're on a road trip, they probably forgot the actual plan, but don't worry, they brought snacks, music, and an impulsive desire to stop at weird roadside attractions. They're big picture thinkers, always throwing out wild ideas in meetings while everyone else is trying to keep them on track. They talk with their hands, they go off on tangents, they bring energy and creativity, but sometimes they forget the important details, like, deadlines. None of these personality types are wrong, but when they clash, that's when things get messy. Because not every personality mix is smooth sailing. Some people just click, while others feel like they were designed to annoy each other. So, let's break it down. Some people just get each other. Take Reds and Blues. These two might seem totally different, but they actually make a great team. Reds want results. They don't overthink, they just go. Meanwhile, Blues want precision. They check the details, make the plans, and ensure things are done right. Now Greens and Yellows. That's another dream team. Yellows bring the energy. They want to have fun, meet new people, try new things. And Greens go with the flow. They don't cause drama, they just enjoy the ride. A Yellow gets a last-minute idea for a road trip. The Green shrugs and says, "Sure, why not?" No arguing, no stress, just a good time. The Green keeps things calm, the Yellow keeps things exciting, and it works perfectly. Some pairs need a little work. What happens when two personalities just don't naturally align? That's when things get interesting. Take Reds and Greens. At first, this might seem perfect. Reds love to take charge, and Greens are happy to go with the flow. But here's the problem. Reds can be too intense. A Red will say, "We're doing it this way." A Green will nod along, even if they don't like it. And that's the issue. Greens hate confrontation, so they'll put up with things even when they're annoyed. But over time, that resentment builds up, and when it finally spills out, the Red is completely blindsided, like, "Wait, why didn't you say something sooner?" On the flip side, we've got Blues and Yellows, a classic case of logic versus chaos. Blues love structure. They need things to be planned, organized, and logical. Yellows? They hate being tied down. They throw out wild ideas, they get excited about everything, and they jump from one thing to the next without a second thought. The only way these two survive is if the yellow learns to follow through on their ideas, and the blue learns to relax a little and go with the flow. The combos that struggle the most: take reds and yellows. Both of them are big personalities, but in totally different ways. Reds focus on winning and efficiency. Yellows focus on fun and spontaneity. A red is all business. A yellow is all about the experience. So while the red is trying to get things done, the yellow is off telling a story about the time they accidentally ended up in a celebrity's VIP section. Reds think yellows are unfocused. Yellows think reds are boring, and unless they respect each other's strengths, this combo crashes and burns. Another tricky mix is blues and greens. You'd think these two would get along since they're both calm and introverted, but that's actually the problem. Blues overthink everything. Greens avoid decisions. So when they're together, nothing ever actually happens. A blue will say, "We should really analyze all the options before making a choice." A green will say, "Yeah, sounds good, you decide." And then nothing. They get stuck in this loop of overanalyzing and avoiding until eventually someone else makes the decision for them. Now you might be thinking, who is the best match then? Honestly, any personality can get along, as long as they understand each other. The key is knowing what each type values and how to deal with each personality type. Dealing with reds. Reds are all about getting things done. They don't want to waste time, they don't sugarcoat things, and they hate indecisiveness. If you need something from them, be direct. Don't ramble, don't over-explain. Just say what you need. Reds respect confidence. If you go in with uncertainty, they'll steamroll you. But if you match their energy, quick, clear, and to the point, they'll take you seriously. At work, don't bring them problems, bring them solutions. Instead of saying, "This isn't working," say, "This isn't working, but here are 2 ways we could fix it." And if you're in an argument with a red, don't get emotional. Stay logical. They don't respond to feelings. They respond to facts. If a red is your friend, don't take their bluntness personally. If they say, "That's a dumb idea," they're not trying to be mean. They just don't see the point in being overly polite. They move fast. They're always focused on the next goal, and if you slow them down, they'll get frustrated. Dealing with blues. Blues are planners. They need all the information before making a decision. If something doesn't make sense, they won't let it go until they understand every part of it. If you're working with a blue, be specific. Vague statements stress them out. Blues love accuracy. If you tell them it's not too far, they'll say, "How far exactly?" If you say it'll be quick, they'll ask, "How long, specifically?" They also hate being rushed. If you push them to make a decision too fast, they'll freeze. So instead of saying, "Just decide already," say, "Take your time, but let's try to wrap this up in the next 30 minutes. At work, don't expect them to just trust the process. If you want them on board, show them the logic behind it. Give them research, case studies, or step-by-step plans. And if a blue is your friend, understand that they're not ignoring you. They're probably overthinking their reply. Give them space, and don't take it personally if they don't text back immediately. Dealing with greens. Greens are peacekeepers. They just want everyone to get along. They hate drama, they avoid confrontation, and they'll go with the flow, even when they don't want to, just to keep the peace. The problem is, they won't always tell you what they actually think. If you ask a green, "Where do you want to eat?" and they say, "I don't care, whatever you want," there's a good chance they do care. They just don't want to argue. So instead of leaving things wide open, give them easy choices. Would you rather have pizza or sushi? Do you want to leave at 5 or 6? Greens also don't like being put on the spot. If you ask them for an opinion in front of a group, they might panic. And if a green is your friend, be patient. They won't always tell you when something's wrong, but that doesn't mean everything's fine. If they suddenly go quiet, check in on them. Dealing with yellows. Yellows are social butterflies. They love excitement, they talk fast, and they hate structure. If you try to control them with too many rules, they'll resist. They love starting projects, but they're terrible at finishing them. If you need them to complete something, break it into small, fun steps instead of giving them one big deadline. At work, don't expect them to sit through long, boring meetings. If you want their attention, make it engaging. Add visuals, let them talk, and keep things moving. If you need them to focus, remind them, nicely. Yellows get distracted easily, but they don't do it on purpose. Instead of saying, "Why can't you ever stay on track?" Try, "Hey, this is really important. Let's knock this out first. Then we can brainstorm other stuff." And if a yellow is your friend, don't get mad if they forget plans or show up late. They genuinely didn't mean to. They just got sidetracked by something exciting. Just remind them and they'll appreciate it. At this point, you're probably recognizing people you know. Maybe you're even recognizing yourself. But here's the thing. You're not just one type. Most people have a dominant type, but also traits from the others. The key is to figure out what your main type is, and then understand how to work with the other types. Because once you get this, communication makes so much more sense. Hope this video was helpful. Subscribe for more. Have a nice day.